Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is another episode of Put It Together Conversations. Thank you for joining us. Put It Together Conversations is a show about folks, where they come from, where they are now, and what their journey is like. And the idea is to inspire and motivate other people to go after their goals and dreams. And I hope today's conversation inspires you. My guest today is Alysse Bryson, and we bring her. There we are. And let me read you a little bit about her bio. Alysse Bryson is a strong woman in recovery, an innovative media maven, marketing guru, and gal about town. She has a humorous outlook on life combined with a fierce determination to succeed. Previously, Alysse was the publisher at Seattle Met Magazine, Seattle's largest lifestyle publication. She lived the magazine lifestyle for nearly a decade. Alysse is proud of her Pacific Northwest roots and 15 years of sobriety, one day at a time. She is a single mom to her adult son, Jacob, and their two Boston Terriers, Roxy and Bella. Alysse enjoys traveling and spending time with her friends and family, and she loves hunting for street art and usually has a camera in her hand. So we're going to go and bring her on and see what's going on. Hello, Alysse. How are you doing?
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
I am so glad to be here, Daniel.
Thank you. I have to do a confession because I love confessing my message to the public. For those of you that know, we moved over to StreamYard a while back. Well, I don't know what happened when I was setting up the accounts, but the links that I sent out weren't working. And then if it wasn't for Christian, you guys know Christian, my partner and director, he was like, the links aren't working, right? I'm like, now you tell me? So I'm scrambling to get Alysse the email. And just when I was calling her to tell her, like, she found the link that I sent her. And I was like, yes. So technology, it is what
I
it
was
is.
like, why isn't this one working? Is it me?
No, it's all me. I'll take the responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I usually also tell my audience about how we met. And I met you through the Yana pages.
Yes, I love Yana. I've been on there since... How long have I been on that site? Since September, October, somewhere in there?
And for those of you that don't remember or do remember, Tyler Matheny was on the show a while back. And he was one of the first ones last year that we brought on the show. So if you want to get familiar with what Yana is and what the page is about, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit here. But go listen to that podcast and that episode. And he was here talking all about the pages, and that's how I became a member, and that's how we connected.
Yes, it is how we connected. And Tyler is a great guy. We haven't met in person, but I really enjoy who he is, and I love talking recovery with him.
Yeah, we had a private chat before the episode, and then once we recorded, of course, we were here for an hour, and then we talked a little bit after. Just a cool guy. I'm ready to go back to Texas to go visit and see him. So.
And Daniel, where are you located at?
I'm in Laguna Beach.
So fancy.
Well, don't let this face fool you. But I always tell people I live in the barrio of Laguna Beach. It's not sassy. But I'm a Texas boy, so I'm
are?
Excited. Yeah. So I'm excited to go back. I haven't been to Texas in over a year, so I'm excited. And hopefully in my trip, I get to meet Tyler and see what.
Are you from the Austin area?
I'm from Houston and Dallas, but in my party days I was an Austin boy.
Mm-hmm.
So. Now congratulations first of all on your 15 years.
Thank you. Yes.
And you're very active on the page. How did you come to Yana?
They actually found me. Tyler found me. I had listened to Dax Shepard's podcast about when he relapsed last fall. And somehow in Tyler's alerts, he came across that article. Then he came across the Sober Curator, and he reached out, and we had a meeting, and he let me know what Yana was doing. And Yana stands for You Are Not Alone, which I absolutely love. And so I was like, I would love to check it out. I love social media. I'm on all platforms and love sharing content because I'm such a lifestyle gal. It just really excites me. And so I just kept posting. And pretty soon they gave me my own section. So when you go to post on the section, there's even a place to post just for the Sober Curator, which is really cool. And I love the connections that have been made on that site.
And obviously you can't connect with people because here we are.
We're connected.
Yeah, I really, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you probably saw the hashtag just 424,
Mhm.
which I posted, which I found that through your postings. And I was
Yes.
like, well, what is this? And then I saw the hashtag t-shirt. And for everybody who watches the show knows that I'm a sucker for t-shirts. I love t-shirts. And I was like, well, I need one of those. I want.
And you got the red one. I remember
red
because
one's
I got the
cool.
black one, and I was like, I should have gotten red. Red is way better than the black one.
Yeah, the red ones are really cool. Well, I went and hunted down this t-shirt just for you. I don't know if you can see it. We
Big of you to be there from the very start. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I hadn't worn this shirt in years, but I went into my closet today and I was like, where is that shirt? Like, Alysse is going to be on the show. Where is that t-shirt? I got to find it. So this is just for you.
Thank you. So now I have to know, how big is the t-shirt collection? What are we talking here? Just
okay.
Just own it. It's okay.
I can't lie because Christian is watching. It's about 250 t-shirts.
Okay.
And
that's impressive. Now I need to know how you organize them. Do you have them in color codes, or what does that system look like?
There is two sections. There is show shirts. So there's the shirts that I wear only for the shows, for any one of the 3 shows. And those are color coordinated. Okay. And then there's my daily t-shirts that are set in sleep shirts and daily shirts. And I realized a couple of days ago, it's funny that you're asking me, I realized a couple of days ago that now I need to organize them into like food shirts and superhero shirts. And
yes.
Yeah, because I have a lot of superhero t-shirts and I have a lot of taco t-shirts. So those need to be in separate.
Let's talk about it.
Ooh, good one. I like that. See, great minds think alike.
Well, I didn't know there was going to be a superhero connection. I love superheroes.
Yeah, I started getting Superman t-shirts a while back. I got one for Christmas and then I was like, oh, I need another one. And then I got a Batman one, then I got a Green Lantern, then a Wonder Woman, and then it just started Batman. It just started growing from there. So
do you have a favorite superhero?
I like my Superman t-shirt, but I think
you kind of seem like a Clark Kent to me. I can see it. I can see it with some glasses. I can see it with the hair.
I don't even have my glasses. They're not the Clark Kent glasses, but let's just say that.
Oh, yep.
Where did Daniel go? Where is he now? But I wore a Superman t-shirt. I've worn one almost every time I went for cancer stuff. So I wore a Superman t-shirt just to give me that superpower. And so it's a lucky shirt. So it's like, yeah. But we're here for you. This is about you. So Alysse Bryson, tell us how you put it together.
How do I put it together? Man, one day at a time. I just really, that is my mantra. I very much have to live in today. And if you had told me 15 years ago that if I just followed some pretty simple things, guidelines to life, that my life would become what it is today, I don't know that I would have believed that that was possible. And it's been, there's been a lot of incredible things that have happened. I've worked for some incredible companies and I've traveled to great places and I've met amazing people. There's been really challenging times too. I had emergency heart surgery 5 years ago. I had stage 1 melanoma cancer on my ankle 2 years ago and had a big chunk of my ankle taken out. So those were some harder times in recovery to deal with, for certain. My son was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when he was 18, 19 years old. He's 24 now. So, you know, real life things still happen after getting sober. I have more tools and I'm able to process things in a much healthier way than what I did before with my old vices.
That's so interesting that we have the cancer connection as well. Definitely, it did for a minute when I was diagnosed with cancer. Like, dang it, is this what I sobered up for? Because I'm hitting 14 this month, June 21st. So I'll be 14 this month, and definitely a couple of years ago when I went through cancer, I was like, is this what this is about? Is this
I got sober to get cancer? Seriously?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. How did you stay grounded and centered through all that?
I actually the way that I found out I had cancer was really, it was not expected. I went into the dermatologist because I had a mole on my ankle that was too close to a tattoo that I already had. And the mole was new, the tattoo was not new, but I didn't like what it was throwing off my tattoo. Very, very vain, right? So I went in, I think I probably actually went in for Botox, but I went in and was like, can I have this mole removed? It's too close to this tattoo. And if I had that mole before I had the tattoo, I wouldn't have put the tattoo there, And she was like, oh, sure. Yeah, we'll get rid of it. We'll send it in. If there's any problems, we'll call you in a week. And a week went by and I didn't hear from them. So I just assumed no news is good news. Yay for me. And didn't think about it again. And then another week went by and it was actually on my birthday. I got a voicemail that it was stage 1 melanoma cancer. And they were going to send me to a surgeon to have it removed. And that really threw me because the mole had been there for quite a while, like a year or two. So then I did what, they tell you not to do, is I went down the Google rabbit hole and just started Googling, all the stages of melanoma, skin cancer. I didn't know a lot about skin cancer, but I was a sun worshiper and was not great at using sunscreen, back in my younger years. And so then I had to, for weeks, just sit with, until it was time for the surgery, to sit with, has it spread? Is it too late? I don't know. I got sober just to get cancer. Are you kidding me? It was really emotionally, I was not in a good place. I wasn't.
Cool. What was your support system at that time?
Thankfully I have a great support system. My family is, my parents are still together. They've been married over 47, 48 years. My sister, who is 3 years younger than me, my son was very supportive. The place that I work for a big TV station in Seattle. They were incredibly supportive, especially after the surgery, because of where it was on my ankle and because of the size of the mole. They actually had to take off quite a lot of my ankle. And so I couldn't walk. I needed to heal, and it was in a very precarious situation. So I really couldn't go anywhere or do anything for a good month. And then even after a month, I was on one of those knee scooters, so that I didn't put any weight on my ankle. And that was really hard because it was summertime, which I'm up here in Seattle. And so, our best months are like, August and September. That's it. That's all we get, So I'm like, no, just kidding. It's nice other parts of the year too. But so I, and I love summer. The condo I was living with had a pool, and I have all this floaty collection. And now I'm like, I'm scared that the cancer has spread. I'm scared of the sun. I'm scared to go outside. There was a lot of fear. And so I really had to dig deep into daily meditation and just staying in the day and not future tripping on information I didn't even have yet. That was really hard, really hard.
Yeah. There's a couple of things there. Let me remind everybody, you're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. My guest today is Alysse Bryson, and we're talking about dangerous moles, summer in Seattle, and staying grounded and centered. I so agree with you. That is something that they don't get. It's something that's not in the cancer catalog, that the fears that come with it, because more than the fear of the cancer is this fear of the unknown, that no matter how grounded, centered, and supported you think you are, it still creeps up on you. Does that make sense?
It does. And then after I had the surgery and they went in to see if it had spread, and thankfully it hadn't spread. But I didn't know that for, I think it was a week or two after the surgery that I waited for the test results to come back to make sure it hadn't spread to any of the other places. And and I had to be on I was in quite a bit of pain, and so I needed to take pain management pills. And as a recovered addict, that's a really tricky place for me. Now it turns out if you follow the medication as prescribed, it works exactly how it's supposed to. I had no idea. I was like, it says take 2, take 10. Isn't that how you do it?
Directions. Who follows directions?
Not me. Not me. Not interested. So, but even following the directions, it just having it in my system, it did awaken the beast a little bit. I don't know any other way to say it. And so, I had to actually have accountability and had other people, my son was checking on my pill count to make sure I was taking it as prescribed. And when you need a little extra help, no one should be embarrassed about asking for extra help in these areas. And there is a stigma around it. Like, well, why can't you just follow the directions? Well, for me, it's just not that easy. And so I need a little bit of help. And as soon as I was able to not take them anymore, it was actually a really big relief, because it was a hard couple of weeks.
When I had to go into the hospital for an emergency. We were done with cancer, but it was between cancer and my ostomy surgery, and I had an emergency to go to. And I had my portacath from the chemo, and they needed to give me pain pills. Pain shots, and pills were never really my thing. I was a coke crackhead, so I say that very proudly. Yeah, no, I was a crackhead. I have no thought. But they would come at every meal and just give me my shot, and it would just be like that. But I do remember afterwards missing it, like wanting that, even though it was controlled by the nurses, wanting that high. Like every meal, my body was anticipating, like, are we going to get it? Are we going to get it? And I was like, no, sorry, buddies. We're out of the hospital. There's no more of that. But it does mess with your head for a little bit.
It does. And I don't know. I mean, maybe there are people that are like just so spiritually fit, they can go in and it doesn't rattle them. But for me, there was really no way to prepare other than just to be in it and go through it and then have people to talk to about it. With my heart surgery, since that was a surprise, I went in for a stress test and a heart echo because I thought I was having some kind of panic attacks, and it turned out that my LAD, the left artery of my heart, was clogged, and they needed to put a stent in. And being rolled into emergency surgery, and they did drug me up, and I was on morphine, and I have to tell you, I loved it. I loved it way too much, right? And, it should have been enough to knock me out, but I was just telling jokes to all the surgeons, like, hey, have I ever told you this one? And these people are just like, why is this girl still awake? And I'm just like chattering up a storm, just high as a kite. And like, I should be really scared because I'm having heart surgery, but I was so happy to be high. It was, and I looked at it like a freebie, and it... I for a while I made myself feel bad about that, but then I shouldn't feel bad about that. It's the makeup of my DNA. It's how that I am. If I wasn't that way, then I guess I would be truly healed, and I'm not. It's something I'm going to struggle with my whole life. I just have to know that, and have all the right bumpers and insurance policies in place, so that it's not a secret and people around me know.
See, that's one thing, and we have a question on the board. But before I bring it up, I'm so with you on that. That I believe in telling the people around me what's like. Hey, let me just give you an update on what's wrong with me. Like everything from body, mind, and spirit. Let me just put it out there so that it's no surprise to you later on what's going on. And it's fortunate that, like, I guess like you, like my support system knows. If my brain is going off, they know the signs, and it really does. Like, you want to do better for you, but you also want to do better for the people around you. You're like,
oh yeah, of course you do. Totally.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay, so the question on the board is, what is your daily routine for surrendering your will to your higher power And did it change during and after your cancer treatment?
That's a really good question. I wish I had some amazing daily routine. I have a daily routine I wish I did, like get up, make my bed, drink a glass of water, drop to my knees, do like prayer and meditation for 35 minutes. Yeah, I didn't do any of that this morning, just for the record.
I like how you said that. I have a daily routine that I wish I had. That's
right. My imaginary daily routine is amazing. My imagination is quite spiritually fit. In real life, though, it doesn't always happen that way. I'm not a morning person, so I do struggle with getting meditation in the morning because I'm usually hitting snooze one too many times, which apparently is not the same as meditation. Someone told me once. And I have 2 Boston Terriers that are usually very eager to go for their morning walk. But there are little ways that I fit it in throughout the day. Because I also have to, in the morning, if I try to meditate in the morning, I might just fall back asleep. So like I have to get up and get going because I like my bed a little too much. And so I try to fit it in little parts in the day. And there's some apps that I use. There's actually a couple of games, meditation games on my son's Oculus, the virtual reality, that I really enjoy. And I really hope, I hope somebody creates like a recovery-based virtual reality game situation. That could be so cool. I mean, that could be really cool just to, go in a virtual reality with a bunch of other sober people too. But I play that sometimes and I enjoy that. Sometimes it's just as simple as just sitting and practicing my breathing and maybe just petting my dogs and just trying to clear my thoughts. But my mind, it's just ping, 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 ping. So because I'm just overactive in all the ways. I do like to color. I like to do art projects. And I feel like for me, that's a form of meditation because if I'm coloring, I'm not usually thinking about anything else besides where the color is going to go. And that can sometimes really help kind of just chill me out.
Yeah. Well, because with my clients, when they come to me and we do energy work and they're always like, I can't sit and meditate for 5 minutes. I'm like, well, what will help you get in a happy spot for 5 minutes? And some people like running. I'm not a runner for fun. That for me is not fun.
No, me neither.
Unless somebody's chasing me, I'm not going to run for 5 minutes. But,
or maybe like Nordstrom's annual sale. That might work.
Now, if the elote man or the paleta man or the taco truck is running down the street, yes, I will run 5 minutes to catch those. But other than that, but I always tell them, like, if there is something that brings you, that calms you down, that brings you to that place where you're like, nothing else matters right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coloring, it's watching your favorite music videos. For me, it's editing videos. I get into editing and I'm so like focused, like nothing else matters to me. I'm like, that's the form of meditation. It is not the traditional meditation, but we live in a COVID world. Nothing is traditional or normal anymore. So
yeah, I think traditions went out the window back in March of 2020. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you, Micah. Thank you. Micah's he's been a guest on the show, so we appreciate him. Thank you for watching. We have another question on the board for you. Do you ever get angry with your higher power regarding your health challenges after sobering up? And how have you working through that?
I get angry at God all the time. We have a lot of conversations. And I think he really doesn't appreciate it when I treat him like Santa Claus and just make demands, that actually reminds, so a time that I got very mad at God was, it was actually it was the last day. It was the first day, I guess I didn't drink. The last day I drank, whatever, somewhere in there. I had gone to a women's 12-step meeting and had an experience where every single person that spoke that night had exactly my story. And I, for the first time, like really identified as an alcoholic. And I'd already known it, but it was a surrendering, like oh, this is the problem and it does need to be dealt with. And I was driving home and I was very mad at God and I was shaking my fist like, are you kidding me? I don't want to give up my vodka and it's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. I don't want to give up vodka on a Taco Tuesday. Like, I was just screaming in my fist, driving down the road, so upset. And I was like, if this is it, you know what, big guy, if this is it, then you just need to give me one more sign. I just need one more sign. And right as I'm making demands of my higher power, a ding goes off in my car. And I look down into the dash and it says, perform service. God was in my dash and I was demanding a sign and he gave me one. So I was kind of out of tricks at that point, right? I mean, I had plenty of signs over the years of my using and abusing, be clear. But here I was very clearly demanding a sign, shaking my fist at God, and he gave me one, perform service. And it was such an overwhelming, like burning bush moment for me. I pulled over to the side of the freeway and I was laughing, crying, like, when you're laughing, like, oh, okay, that's a good one. You got me. Like, okay, snot's coming out of my nose. And I'm just like trying to pull myself together so I can get back on the road. And I looked down back into the same dash and the perform service had gone away and it showed me what my gas tank was at. And it was at just below a quarter of a tank. And what I heard, as if somebody was in the passenger seat right next to me, what I heard in that moment was, you can do it now at this opportunity. The next time I come for you, you will be on empty. And I was terrified of what empty was going to look like because I could already tell I was at the end of the rope and I was about to lose it all. And so I had to let go and trust, right? I had to let go and trust. And I haven't had a drink since that night. But it doesn't mean I haven't wanted to plenty of times, right? And so that was such a burning bush moment for me that it made me realize that I do have a relationship with my higher power and we do communicate back and forth. And it can be my own interpretation of what that is. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to be the way that I was brought up to believe. It can be my own thing. It's my personal experience. And so, when I am in regular practice of not demanding, but asking for the answers, and then I'm just quiet myself and then listen, the answers always come. Sometimes I don't like the answers, but that's not the point.
Yeah, that is, whew, girl. Like we could share some stories on that moment, because I remember the day before I went to rehab, and I remember the signs. It didn't take a burning bush either for me to be like, I get it, like, because me and my higher power, I call him G sometimes. I'm like, G, I got you. Like I'm hearing you. Like I know what you're saying. I just don't want to do it right now. And he's like, oh really? Let me send the universe after you, because your life has some questions for what you're doing right now. I'm like, okay, mm-hmm. I get it. Before we continue, we have another question on the board, but I want to remind everybody you're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. My guest today is recovery advocate, Alysse Bryson, and we're talking about health issues, higher power, and finding the perfect meditation for you. The question here is from Micah. Micah says, Alysse, you mentioned about tradition at the window. What non-traditional programs have helped you in sobriety?
Non-traditional programs. It's a really good question. I over the years, I have tried yoga. I have done sound baths. I have done crystal healings. I have done Reiki. I will try just about anything to feel good, right? That hasn't changed. I'm just trying to do it more holistically and healthy now. I also just, for me, I'm a Cancer sign astrologically, and so for me, being close to a body of water always like keeps me very grounded, and having my bare feet in soil or sand or grass keeps me very grounded. And being near water and watch, I love sunsets. I love watching sunsets. I'm not so much of a sunrise person. I mean, I used to be because I was coming home when the sun was coming up, but I'm more of a sunset kind of girl. And so I mean, I will try. I mean, I will try anything. And if I like it, I'll just do it a bunch. But I'm also, I don't know if it's the ADHD tendencies in me, but I can like something and be fully invested in it. Like when I took up adult coloring, for example, oh, I set up a whole coloring studio and bought every coloring book that was out there and had the pencils and the markers and the this and that. And I was so into it for like 4 months. And then I just woke up one day and was like, I don't want to color anymore. Right. And now I still have all that stuff. But then I went on to I started diamond painting. And diamond painting is a trip. It is like, it's kind of like cross stitch. There's a little grid and you get these little tiny jewels or diamonds with a stick. And they're color coded. So there's symbols in the grid, and you take the diamond, you put it on the symbol, and then you put it together, and it's this huge glittery picture. Sounds amazing, right? I have quite a few of those projects started that are not finished. But it's very relaxing because it's very repetitive, right? And I can just listen to a podcast or listen to music. I recently reinvested in getting a vinyl record player. And so I've had a lot of fun pulling out some vinyls, going thrift shopping for vinyl records. And I find thrift shopping very relaxing. I'm like, in hunt. I love to hunt for special treasures. And odd things that maybe remind me of my childhood. Like I have an entire Muppet glasses collect. Do you remember the Muppet glasses from McDonald's? Yes, you do. The Miss Piggy one? Oh, yes, you do. Yes.
How are we not best friends?
We are now, obviously.
My God. Okay, just side note for everybody. I have a Kermit the Frog that was given to me when I was 5 years old. I've had it for 45 years.
Stop it.
Yes, my sister gave it to me for my 5th birthday, and it's in my closet. I still have it. Yeah.
All right, this one's gonna blow your mind. Hope you're sitting down. Oh wait, you are. So my mom's cousin Polly, stay with me, Polly Smith, that's her name. She was the first clothing designer for Miss Piggy for the first 20 years of Miss Piggy's life. And the Miss Piggy that's in the Smithsonian is wearing an outfit that was made by my mom's cousin, Polly Smith, which, moral of the story, I'm a Muppet.
You're a Muppet. Oh my God. Yes. Like you're 1 degree away from.
I'm 1 degree. Like I'm closer to the Muppets than Kevin Bacon is even close.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you? Okay. Okay. So. Cookie Monster.
What can I grab that's close to me? What can I grab?
And only because my couch is right there. But this is my couch buddy whenever I nap.
Yeah.
Cookie Monster. Yeah. So we could right here.
I mean, yeah, I'm a child of the 80s and a youth of the 90s. I love anything that reminds me about my life before the age of 16. But age of 16 is when I really started like drinking and using drugs. My life was fairly innocent up until that point, right? Both my grandfathers were pastors. I grew up in a Christian home where I went to a private Christian school. My mom was my teacher. It was very Leave It to Beaver, nice, wholesome family stuff. And so I think part of the reason I love to regress and hunt down those treasures of youth and just get excited about Muppets or Fraggle Rock or the Goonies is because it just reminds me of a time when things were innocent and pure.
So now that you brought that up, can we talk about how was that first time?
Oh, I don't know if I remember it. What I do remember is I knew fairly quickly that I was not drinking like my friends. I knew fairly quickly that once I started, I didn't want to stop. Blacking out happened within 2 or 3 months of my first drink. Blacking out became very normal. In fact, my last name is Bryson, and in my 20s, my close friends would call me Bob, which stood for Blackout Bryson. And I wore it like it was a badge of honor, right? Yeah, it's not really a badge of honor. And however, cocaine will keep you from blacking out. So that was my solution. But yes, in the early days, it was, I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be a cool kid. I wanted the boys to like me. I wanted to be the popular girl. And I was just excited by all of it. And, growing up in a very wholesome home, like I wasn't even allowed to watch rated R movies. I wasn't allowed to have a Barbie, right? So I was very sheltered from this world of all this mischievous opportunity. And so I just went balls to the wall for it once I got out there.
Yeah, that's, I started drinking when I was about 15. I would sneak the rum or vodka from my parents' liquor cabinet and put it in my Kool-Aid. And that was I was like, I'm cool. Like, everybody thinks it's Kool-Aid. Foolish people.
I'll show you.
Yeah. And then 2 glasses in, everybody's like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. But same thing. I was trying to be cool. I was coming into my sexuality, and like, I thought everybody drank. I mean, coming from a Latino family, it was like, it's Tuesday, let's have a beer. And you're just like, that's what I'm doing, but I'm just having 2 more than you. Like, what's the big deal? But interesting that you bring that up about the conservative, coming from a conservative space, because a lot of parents have this mentality that if I don't show you what's out in the world, you're not going to do it. Example, alcohol, drugs, sex. If I don't talk about it at home, I don't mention it at all, you're never going to get the idea to go use, drink, or have sex. And it doesn't always work out that way, does it?
It doesn't. And it really doesn't. And I was actually down at my parents' last weekend. I just needed a little getaway, took the dogs. They still live in my childhood home. And my mom was listening to a podcast that I had just been on. And she wanted to listen to it. She had seen me post about it. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Here's the link. Didn't really think a lot about it or what I said in it. And there were some things that I said in the podcast that she did not know had happened to me. And they directly related to around sexual issues and being pregnant and then not being pregnant. And so she got done listening to it and she was like, I didn't realize those things about you. Can we talk about it? And I was like, sure, Mom, we can talk about it. I'm okay. Obviously I just talked about it on a podcast to perfect strangers. So I will definitely talk to you about it. And so she started to talk like when did it get that far? How did it get that out of control? And I explained to her a lot of stuff for me sexually. Once I started drinking, it was all very intertwined. And I said, you need to remember, you took me out of sex ed class. You didn't let me go to the sex ed classes. So all I was told is you don't do it. I wasn't told about what if you do this or this or this or this, or if this or this happens. I was just told you don't do it. End of conversation. That's not very realistic. And I understand why. I understood her reasoning for taking me out of the classes, but there still should have been some education that went along with that. But you know what? She didn't have that education either. It goes back. It's like it trickles down through generations. And so what I do hope now with my own son, I am sure I probably should have maybe filtered a little more than I did. So I'm already saving up for his therapy, but
you're like, let me bring down the PowerPoint. Let me show you.
And then, he was 9 when I got sober, and I have been very open with him about many things, but there were things that I did wait until he was older, more age appropriate to share with him. And then there's some things that I may never share with him. I don't know. It's just, but I can't regret any of the past. I can't. It made me who I am today. And those experiences that I have make me uniquely skilled to help other women who've had the same things happen to them or have done the same things that they have shame and guilt and remorse over. And that's a way that's making lemonade out of the situation.
Yeah, you and I think alike in that aspect. It's I've been called on out sometimes. People are like, you just so casually talk about your crack addiction and your alcoholism. I'm like, well, it's true. It's not like I'm making it up. Like I invested 16 years in crack. Like I think after all the money I spent on it, I can talk about it now. Like I invested a lot. I'm sure some crack dealer's kid went to college on everything that I did for him. And for everybody listening, yes, I make light of it because it happened. It's true. I can't change it, but it has definitely formed who I am today at 50. Trying cocaine for the first time at 20 and not having a clue what life was about, who I really was. From A to Z, I had no clue, to being 50 now and being able to talk about it. Yes, I want to take ownership of it, and it's my story, and I should be able to tell it without feeling remorse. Does that make sense?
And I'm sure, since you and I are clearly basically the same person, we've now realized, I use humor as a defense armor, and so a lot of times I make jokes about things that really there is a deep pain behind there. And there may always be. I don't know that you ever completely get rid of stuff. I think that things that happen are a part of you, and then it's how you deal with them and move past them and then use those experiences for the greater good. I think I got off track. I lost my point, but I use humor sometimes as armor, but I too I am very bold in the things that I say. I don't really have any, and maybe I should be more embarrassed or I should hold things back. People are like, aren't you worried that, you're not going to be able to get a job? And I'm like, no, because I have a job. Like I'm good, so I don't know. I don't blabber on everywhere about everything, but if I'm in a situation and it's relevant to the conversation and it can be helpful, there's a difference between sharing some of that stuff and having some ego and pride around it versus using it to be helpful. And at the end of the day, being of service to other people, being helpful to other people, that is the backbone of my recovery. When I'm helping other people, that is the one way to ensure I'm not stuck in self.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've made very clear about my career is that I've been through a lot. Health, body, mind, and spirit. They've all three been through a lot. And if something that I've been through can move the dial forward in a conversation, then I'm going to participate in the conversation. I'm going to add it. Some things I'm not like, oh yeah, give me a medal for that thing. But some things I'm like, hey, I survived that. So you go, Garza. You lived that. And one thing that they taught me when I went to rehab was, this is something that I think I am who I am. They're like, we're going to show you how to live your life without the drugs and alcohol. We're going to teach you how to celebrate and how to mourn things, how to be happy and how to be sad on your own. And I think that's what makes it comfortable for me to be able to share. Because if a conversation gets me down for a little bit, I'm like, okay, let's think about that. Let's think about that for a minute. There's no need to go do anything. Maybe I'll buy a t-shirt online. Okay, I'm going to admit it. Maybe I'm not perfect, people. I look perfect, but I'm not. I'll go online. I'm like, I deserve a t-shirt.
Add to cart.
We're so there. We're so there. For everybody watching, this is Put Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. We're talking to recovery advocate Alysse Bryson, and we're talking about sharing, moving the dial forward, and being of service to others, and in line of being of service to others. Aha, see how I did that. This is where we talk about words of wisdom. So, Alysse Bryson, what words of wisdom can you share with the audience?
Words of wisdom. You can do hard things. You can do hard things and you can get the results. And you don't even have to like doing the hard things to get the results, right? I don't love going to the gym, Daniel. This may surprise you. I'm not exactly sporty spice over here, right? But if I do simple things physically, I get the physical results, right? You talked earlier about like being a runner. Like some people really love running. Unless there's a sale, I don't know what I'm running for, right? But if I get results, I'm a very results oriented person. I always have been, right? It's part of the reason we drank and used. We liked the results we thought that was giving us. It was not a real or reality, but knowing that I can do hard things, that keeps things very simple for me, because at the root of everything, it's just fear that we're not good enough, fear that we're fail. I learn the most from failing. I don't actually learn that much when I win something, right? You really only learn things when you do it wrong, and you have to figure out a way to do it better. And so failure is your friend. You can do hard things, and be nice to people.
Yeah. It's interesting that there's always a connection between my interviews in one day. The gentleman that we interviewed earlier today, one of the topics was failing. You learn from failure. So if you're watching this one and you didn't watch the one earlier, go back one episode and watch it, and you'll see the connection. There's always a connection between my guests, and I was like, I wonder what it is today. And
how do you plan that? How do you do that?
It's very random because you guys choose the date you want to come on the show.
That's true. Yeah. So the next person may or may not talk about Superman and the Muppets and Cookie Monster.
It may be a connection, but yeah, for everybody watching, I invite them to the show. I send them a Calendly link, and my guests choose what day they want to come on. But 9 out of 10, I just got chills. 9 out of 10, the two guests, and sometimes we have 3 shows at once on Saturday, and all 3 shows or all 2 shows will have a link between them. And today's link was failing and appreciating the failures, which is really cool. For everybody, this is her Instagram. Make sure you go follow that. Go check out her Instagram. I can't let you go without a message. If somebody out there happens to fall upon this episode and is struggling with addiction or alcoholism, what message can you send out to them?
That you don't have to drink or use for the rest of your life. And there are a lot of different people that want to help, and a lot of different ways and a lot of different places. And what works for me may not work for you. So keep honestly searching for what works for you. And then hang on to it with everything you have. But I could not believe in early sobriety, the people that were complete strangers that would help me in all the different ways that they would help me. And now I like to think that I'm one of those people, and that I will help other people when called upon. And I think the backbone of recovery, the recovery community, is the community. You will not find a nicer group of people that honestly want to help each other without some kind of hidden motive or hidden agenda, because we've all been to a place that if you're suffering right now, that you're at, like we've all been to hell, and we're all fighting really hard not to go back there. And that is the tie that binds us, regardless. Addiction, it doesn't discriminate, right? It can hit anyone, anywhere. And but the common thread that keeps us together is just being helpful to each other, and being able to talk to someone who I can talk to my friends that are normies, they don't have a drinking or drug problem, and they intellectually get what I'm saying, but they don't feel it. They don't know it personally. And so I think knowing that people are out there that know your story, that have experienced what you experienced, and reaching out and asking for help, there are so many places that want to help.
Yeah, I remember when I first came out of rehab. This is back in Houston, and going to Lambda, which is pretty much an all LGBTQ friendly area. And my first thought was like, why are you being so friendly to me? Is it because I'm gay? I'm new? Like, what the hell? Not that I was that cute, but I was like, what do you want?
I mean, you are pretty cute. I mean,
I am pretty adorable when it comes to little Mexicans. I gotta admit it. But one of the guys told me, he's like, it's because I see potential in you and I don't want you to fall through the cracks. So I'm on you to stay on your course so that you can become the person that you were meant to be. And I thought, wow. And then who later became my second sponsor, Dan, who passed away several years ago, he was on me all the time. And he would always say, like, I look, your mom was not around, so I'm like your second mom. And I was like, okay, Dan. And him and his partner just took this liking to me and wanting me to be better. And every time I succeeded in something, they were always the first one to cheer me on. And whenever I failed, they were the first ones to cheer me on and go, so you messed up, keep going. And I do, between them and my first sponsor, I give them a lot of credit for keeping me on track for 14 years now almost. But you're right. And then you want to do that for somebody else.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Well, and that's the secret sauce, because helping other people, it actually keeps you sober, right? So yes, there is a little bit of selfish motive behind it, I guess. But I love when I see someone who's getting it. You see, you meet them and it's like, oh, disaster, tears, all the things. And then some time goes on in those first early months of recovery, and you see the light, that twinkle come back in their eyes. You see the light bulbs of they're making connections, because, removing the drugs and alcohol, that doesn't actually fix anything. It's just the beginning. But it's an important part. It's a very important part, but it's not, there's actually a lot of work that happens after that. And when you start to see someone tackle that work and the lights come on and they're figuring out, oh, why do I keep doing this? This doesn't serve me. Yeah. That is amazing. And when you see people get their kids back, get jobs, buy a house, get married, all those beautiful life moments they get to be there for, it's an experience you shouldn't miss.
Yeah. One of the greatest things has been seeing some people that I knew in Houston, that, because I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess, and I was like a very spicy taco that just fell apart. It was not pretty. And some of my friends from my 20s who saw me go through my changes and then moving to California and starting my own business and meeting my partner and all these things, they were like, how did that happen? I'm like, dude, I had to get up my mess. First I had to clean myself up. Then I had to go back and clean up the mess that I made, because I made a lot of messes. Mm-hmm. And then I had to walk with my tail between my legs for a while there, because it was like, okay, I know I messed up. How can I fix this? Yeah, how can I fix this? And then once I was done with my list of people that really mattered, then I could really start oh wow, all right, this tastes good. I can enjoy this for a little while. Does that make sense? So also one question, we have 7 minutes to go, but what has been, because it's been on my head since we started, what has been the most unique thing you have found in one of your shopping sprees?
Oh,
I don't want to cut away from the conversation.
I want to go grab it. Can I grab it?
Yeah, please,
okay.
Please.
Okay, hold on.
While you do that, I'm going to tell people about, remember guys, you can check us out. We have several shows on the air, so make sure you check us. Where is the card? Here it is. Make sure you check us on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. for the Christian and Daniel show, on Fridays at 5 p.m. for the Car Devo, and on Saturdays we have the 2 shows at noon and 5 for Political Conversation. And every once in a while we'll sneak in a special show for you somewhere in the week or on the weekend. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and you can comment on any of the shows. So you can be part of the conversations. So make sure that you join us on any of those days.
Okay. I grabbed 3 things.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how to do anything in balance. But this one's a real gem. Luke Perry from 90210, Dylan McKay. Dylan McKay, he's in mint condition. He's got
my God. Was this before he passed or after he passed?
This was after he passed. I found it.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So that's unique though, because a lot of people.
Unique. Yep.
Yeah.
This is not, I had this as a kid, but this is not my original, but this ET like doll beanie baby thing. I loved this when I was a kid. It was like, I don't know why I ever got rid of it. So when I found one that was just like it, I could hardly handle myself. But then my prize possession, which this one may not seem like me, but it's totally me. Oh. It is a Tonka Winnebago. I got it for $20. I've seen it on eBay for like $500. The roof comes off. I actually put battery operated candles inside of it so it glows at nighttime. But my neighbor, when I was a kid, she had this and she had Barbies because, I wasn't allowed to play with Barbies. So I used to love playing with this RV and her Barbies in her backyard. Wow. So when I saw it, I just had to have it. I just love it. I love it so much.
Is it like an original Tonka out of metal?
Yes, it's from the 70s. It's out of metal.
Because when I was a kid, okay, now we're Tonka twins too. When I was a kid, one of my godmothers for my birthdays would always give me Tonka trucks, pickups. Mm-hmm. So I had a fleet of pickups that I would use all the time. Yeah. Until my nephews were born, which is why I didn't like them when they were born. My sister's 21 years older than me, so she had my nephews when I was like 4. So my nephews, my mom was like, "You don't need them anymore." I'm like, "You don't know what I need, woman." So for a long time, I would tease my mom like, "You know why I started drinking? Because you took my trucks and my toys away."
Oh.
It was because of you. And she was like, "Whatever," and she didn't believe it, but. But yeah, that is such a cool. Okay, all 3 things are really cool. All 3 things are really cool.
I like collecting weird stuff. I do.
One day, because we have really good friends. My friend Ozzy lives in Seattle, so we have really close friends that live in Seattle. One day we're gonna come and visit you.
Yes.
Play with your toys. You can take us shopping.
Yes, I know all the great places.
Because I am a sucker for vintage T-shirts too. Like
I can. Yes, there's a place for those.
We could get in so much trouble together.
We really could get in a lot of shopping trouble together.
And I know Christian is watching this so right now. You can come along too, Christian.
Yeah, Christian, you can come, and we should probably just get to work on our own T-shirt line. Probably,
girl, right here. We'll definitely need to talk about that. I there's a lot more things that I would love to. I mean, I've been following you now for a little bit, so. I'm like, I want to collaborate with her on something. So I want to do something.
Well, maybe it's a T-shirt line. Who knows?
We'll talk more off the air. So y'all can't have all our secrets, folks.
Yes. Sorry.
We have 2 minutes to go. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I don't think so, but I have had so much fun getting to know you. I've been following you for a while as well too. And I will say that the silver lining to the pandemic for me has been making the choice to recover out loud on the internet, something that I hadn't done before the pandemic. I was very open with my recovery in in real life, in person, but I never post about it on social media. Very rarely. If I did, it was very kind of cryptic. But when we launched the Sober Curator and I took things kind of full force, the silver lining for me of the last year and a half has been the incredible people in recovery that I've met from all across the country and in other countries too. And that I just love that so much, because it just reinforces that there's so many of us, and we're doing so much amazing content is being created, which is why I launched the Sober Curator, is to try to curate it and get it all into one place so people can know where to go find all the things. So now I'm going to have you come and be on the Sober Curator site. We're going to have to figure that out. Have to do Sober Spotlight.
We'll have to figure something out. Yeah, one of the beautiful things that, for everybody watching, one of the most beautiful things that I discovered during have discovered is that although the alcohol and drugs I thought were just about my body, it eventually started clearing up my mind, which then now cleared up my spirit. And I talk to my clients about body, mind, and spirit. It's like, are they talking to each other? And for me, they were not talking to each other for many, many years. They were angry at each other for a long time. But when my body started to heal, my mind started to heal. And then my spirit was like, okay, then I'm ready to do it. Mm-hmm. And shows like this definitely, thank you so much, not just for coming on the show, but for being a fellow and being able to have this conversations, being able to laugh at ourselves and at each other and go, girl, I get you. Because that's part of the healing process too. Yeah, I think that's part of the healing process. And if I can't laugh at myself, I mean, RuPaul says if you can't love yourself, but I also think if you can't laugh at yourself over the bumps in the head that you've had, then what's the point?
Yeah, you and I are good at laughing at ourselves, I think. I think we've got that part down, I think.
Yeah. All right, don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to put you in the green room and I'll be right back for you. For everybody watching, thank you so much again for being part of the show. Thank you for the conversation. Remember, we always set the schedules, but go check out Grumpy Bunny and the Colors Game. It's out available on any of these major booksellers. If we talked about meditation, if you want to teach your kids about meditation, if you want to learn how to meditate, go check out Grumpy Bunny and the Colors Game. For now, I want to thank you. Remember, the Put It Together Conversations is a show about you, where you come from, where you are now, and what your journey is like. And we hope to inspire and motivate other people to go after their dreams and goals. And I hope your dreams and goals, did I say goals? I hope I said goals. I hope you were inspired and motivated by this conversation. I hope to see you again next week. For now, this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together. See you next.